Over time, many people have asked me, how come I ended up in Romania? How come I ended up teaching in Romania? And in a way, it's a long story, but to keep it very short, I was invited and I had no idea what Romania was all about. I just knew that I had felt the call and I wanted to answer the call. So in answering that call to come to Romania, I found a people, an extraordinary people. And I remembered something from a long time ago. So back in the 80s, I was watching TV, the news, and there on the news was all these pictures, these movies of children in orphanages who had no parents. Obviously they're in orphanages, and they were rocking backwards and forwards in their cots and they were not looked after. And all these pictures flooded out of the Eastern Europe. And at that time, we all knew very little about Eastern Europe because the borders had been closed. And so back then, I remember watching the TV and crying because I could see the distress that these very small children were under. And the truth is, if I hadn't have had my own children to look after, I would certainly have gone to Romania to be of some kind of help there in those orphanages. In fact, one of my team in UK did go to Romania. She answered the call back in the 80s. What I found when I came to Romania was an extraordinary people, and I've fallen in love over time with them because I understand this notion of being trapped in a system, in communism, not being free, not being allowed to even speak your truth. And what I found as I began to teach and as I began to understand the Romanian psyche, if you like, I fell in love with them because, yeah, it was as if I couldn't answer the call back in the 80s, but I felt compelled to answer the call and I didn't know why in the early 2000s. So all these years later, I've loved every moment. It's been challenging. It's been extraordinary to learn another culture. I'm not great with the language still, but I understand it now. And I think I understand the people too, which is part of my empathic connection with them in a way. So yes, in a way, I had to fly my own wings in order to get to Romania, in order to answer that call. And I'm so glad I did. I'm so blessed to have been instrumental. And in a way, I'm the grandmother of shamanism in Romania because many of the people who are now teaching were in my early classes. And so, yeah, I've spawned so many teachers and, yeah, spreading this beautiful medicine throughout this beautiful country.